All right, what is going on, guys? So I did record my unboxing of the Dell XPS 13 Plus, but unfortunately I lost the overhead footage. And I would say that the unboxing video would have been a very good video because I was just going crazy for how premium this device feels. And I have to say that Dell, you might have just made one of my favorite Windows laptops ever. And you smell good. Now, in terms of design and aesthetics, I would say this is very reminiscent of the Surface lineup that Microsoft has. It feels as though Dell took it up a notch. You know what else takes it up a notch? Our sponsor. Absolutely nobody. Now, this is the silver model, the most common color that Dell laptops come in. And on the outside, you probably couldn't tell that this is the Dell XPS 13 Plus. You would think it's the regular XPS 13. But once you open it and look on the inside, you get to see like a new generation of engineers at Dell. I would say this might be the best looking Windows laptop without a doubt. Taking another look at it, this is the best looking and feeling Windows laptop I've ever used. There's just so much glass on this thing and aluminum as well. And tech enthusiasts know aluminum and glass, two combinations that just scream premium. Now, starting on the outside here, let me give you guys the graphite demo here. So once again, this is a traditional aluminum design, except here on the bottom, we have a matching graphite color. We also have two Thunderbolt 2 ports. Thunderbolt 2, am I an idiot? We have two Thunderbolt 4 ports, and Dell also gives us some converters in the box. We have a USB Type A and a headphone jack. Yep. Laptop headphone jacks are starting to become a thing in the past. But let's talk a little bit more about the inside, because that is what people are here for. So starting from the bottom up, because the trackpad area is just one of the most futuristic things I've ever seen on how to interact with a laptop. So there's no visible trackpad, but there is an area where the trackpad would traditionally be. I don't know if you guys will be able to see this, but I am moving the mouse here in the center. And you might ask yourself, well, what if your finger runs off of the trackpad that's supposed to be here? And my response to that is, it's never happened to me. And I guess it's just the muscle memory built over the last couple of decades of using a laptop. And it's just like, ooh. It's just subconsciously, my fingers know where the trackpad begins and where it ends. And I never ran into any problems. I did have to up the feedback though, because it was a little bit too gentle for me. You can think of it as the Magic Trackpad on the MacBooks, how it has a haptic feedback whenever you tap it. And the argument is this on par or better than the trackpad that Apple offers? And I'm gonna come out and say yes to some degree. In terms of functionality, no. The gestures on macOS are still king, but the trackpad here is seriously one of the best feeling trackpads I've ever used. This glass material that they use here on the bottom, it's very soft and comfortable. And also, since it serves as the trackpad and the bottom part of where you type as well, it's really comfortable to type since this is where the palms of your hands rest. I don't know why I looked at my hands, but it just makes the device overall cleaner with this design. And I would say I would like to see this design on future laptops, but I can almost guarantee you this is much more expensive to manufacture and eats into margins. Now, the one complaint I do have with this trackpad is when you first open the laptop, or I should say when you're opening up the laptop from sleep or you haven't used it for a while, the haptic does take like 10 to 15 seconds for it to be registered. So when I were to click, nothing were to happen. Then a second later, then I get the vibration. And then after about 10 to 15 seconds, everything seems to sync up. So that's pretty much my only complaint with the trackpad. So speaking about typing, let's move up to the keyboard next. Now, imagine if the Surface laptop keyboard and the regular XPS 13 keyboard had a baby. This is what you get. It's like the best of both worlds. Now, personally, I'm not really that big of a fan of the XPS 13 keyboard because the way the keycaps feel, it just didn't feel right for my fingers. But this boxy design is more or less what you kind of get on the Surface lineup, and I love it with this combination. I know some people prefer the long and clickety travel like women and their nails, but this is one of the best Windows keyboards to type on, except for one feature, the trackpad. Did I say trackpad? I meant to say the touch bar. Oh my God, I'm just so bad at doing reviews now. Now, I know there are probably comparisons to Apple's touch bar, but this is definitely more limiting than theirs. Oh, also, I forgot to mention that there is a fingerprint sensor that works with Windows Hello. I think the touch bar is good enough for most of the features you would want from a laptop control function row, like the volume, the brightness, the backlighting. I'm actually surprised that there is a print screen button, which is nice, and then you have the home and insert buttons. Don't really know who uses that much for a laptop, but nice to see that they're there. There is potential to be some controversy since the escape and delete key are a part of this touch bar. And I would say my only real complaint is that this touch bar here is, I'm up in the air for it, because even though when you hold down the FN key, it does switch. I mean, you guys can barely see that. But it does switch over to the regular F function row thingamabobber. But my only real complaint is that the there needs to be some sort of haptic feedback up here, because I'm unsure whether I'm actually hitting these buttons or not. So for example here, if I were to dim the display, like it's dimming the display, but I don't really know if I'm actually hitting this. Same thing when it comes to the escape and delete key. I just need some sort of feedback whenever I actually hit it. What would also be nice is if we can actually customize like the last 4 to whatever map we want under Windows, but this is the first generation, so I'm going to give Dell some slack because this is probably one of the best things I've seen by Dell in quite some time. So do I hate the touch bar? Not necessarily, but do I love the touch bar? No. It's sort of in the middle for me. Now, let's keep moving up to this display. So the configuration I have is the regular Full HD Plus display, which is slightly higher than 1080. And I think at this resolution, or I should say this screen size of 13 inches, a minimum of 1080 is fine, and anything higher is just icing on the cake at the cost of battery life. So watching content and just surfing the web with this display was great. And I love the fact that Dell has this matte finish here on their displays, because it just makes it easier using it outdoors and in public. And I understand using a MacBook myself that glossy finishes look better, as well as if you were to upgrade to the OLED panel, it just looks more richer and vibrant. But using it in light just makes it horrible because you're constantly fighting with the glare. So happy to see that Dell is still sticking with the option to have a matte finish on the display. Speaking about display, since technically this glass touch bar is a display, this thing really sucks to see when you're in direct sunlight. It's like the brightness levels, or like the LED behind it that is brightening up this touch bar, it's just not strong enough to combat the sun. But I mean, it's the sun. What can really combat that? Anyway, I'm not done yet, because this is a laptop that just keeps on giving. And I know this might seem like a super positive review and I'm getting paid, but I can assure you I've had no contact with Dell other than them taking like $3,000 from my wallet at the time of me purchasing this. But this is seriously one of the best 13-inch Windows laptops I've ever used. The speakers are amazing. I mean, from a device like this, I'm surprised whether it's at low, medium, or max volume, it's crisp and clear the entire time with no distortion or any sort of crackling. There's no like Dolby Atmos stickers on here to make it seem like the speakers are really good. It's just, these are quality speakers in a device that is this thin and light. Now, moving on to the camera. The camera's good enough, but like with any laptop in this price range, the better the lighting, the better you look. And then when you switch to darker settings, you basically look like a gas station camera. All right, so this is the camera and microphone test on the Dell XPS 13. As you guys can see, the camera actually looks pretty good in good lighting, but let's move on over to a darker setting. So now we are in a bit of a darker setting, but I will admit, even though this does have that security camera type of vibe to it, it's actually still pretty good in terms of the frame rate and stuff. So good on you, Dell. I would also add that I've always complained about Dell's facial recognition, especially at the nighttime, but I don't know if they did any improvements under the software or the hardware, but it's able to read my complexion a lot easier and more consistent now, which is great because that's the one thing I hate about Dell laptops when it comes to facial recognition. Now, last but not least, we got to talk about the chip, the Intel P chip. I tried telling you guys that Intel just needed to get kicked a few times, and here we are. So even though this is an i5, their P lineup, you can think of it as processors that are designed for thin and light, except they lean in a little bit more when it comes to the performance. And when I mean lean into it, they really lean into performance. Now, compared to the 11th gen, and crazy enough, even the M series by Apple, the performance gain from 12th gen specifically for laptops when it comes to the P series, it's amazing the devices we are able to have in front of us today. In terms of the Windows laptop that I use, this is the Surface Book that was given to me by Intel. This is a fantastic laptop, and it's running the 11th gen, and it is thin and light as well. However, the fact that this is also just slightly thicker, but I'm getting vastly more performance, it is something to give credit where credit is due. And I'm telling you guys, do not sleep on the P series by Intel this generation. And even with the performance you get with the P series, the fans aren't even that obnoxiously loud. Dude, did I really just get a McAfee pop up here? Get away, man, come on. As I was saying before, I was rudely interrupted by probably one of the biggest scams known to mankind. All in all, this is a great package, and Dell engineers should get a round of applause because this right here, and I'll say it till I'm blue in the face, is one of my favorite Windows laptops of this year. So that is my review of the Dell XPS 13. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this review. Let me know what you guys think of this device. I mean, this graphite color, I love it. I prefer it over the white. The white looks cleaner, but I'm telling you guys, using this during the day and even at night, it just doesn't seem as refined as the graphite color. The lighting just seems to work better with this darker aesthetic to it. Kind of reminds me of this upcoming midnight color we're gonna get. But I appreciate every single sub, like, and comment. And as always, guys, much love. Best Windows laptop by far. Oh my gosh, I'm so dumb. I forgot to talk about the internals. I mean, I talked about the internals, but I'm talking about upgradeability. So, this is so weird because I'm at the end of the video. But regardless, the RAM is soldered into the motherboard, but you can upgrade the SSD if you so desire. It's the only thing that's upgradable. I understand it's a bit of a trade-off that you can't upgrade the RAM, but the performance that you get, I would say it's fine. But it's nice that we can also upgrade the storage in here. All right, anyway, guys, I'm out. I really wish you guys were able to see my unboxing video because this laptop, first sight, when you open it, man, it's like, I mean, look at this Windows Hello. Boom, I'm in. You can't stop Dell. I mean, let's not get ahead of ourselves, Dell. Your business laptops, they're okay, but I mean, your quality control, you gotta fix it. But this, solid, keep it up. Just do that for everything else you do in life.